Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today I'm doing the BookTube Community Joy and Gratitude tag, which is an original tag by Pat at Book Chat with Pat that she created to celebrate her 2,000 subscribers. So thank you for tagging me, Pat, and congratulations on your success. It's 100% deserved. I was also tagged by Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club, so thank you again as well, Ellen, for tagging me. And I'm very excited to do this tag. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And so, let's get to it. There are 7 prompts in this tag, and each prompt is accompanied with a theme and a quote. So the first prompt the theme is joy. Let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. And this is a quote from Marcel Proust. So I think isn't that beautiful? Anyway, so the first prompt is name an author whose books bring you joy, or discuss a specific book that made you feel joyful. So for this, I decided to choose Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I read this book, was it in May, and it is just pure joy. It is so good. It is just, the quality of the writing is just exceptional. The story is so original, and it's just like, it was a breath of, what is it? Breath of fresh air. I think that's what you say. It was just, I really, really enjoyed it, and it's been one of the best reading experiences, like joyful reading experiences of my life, really. It's just one of the best books I've ever read, and I absolutely loved it. I will also mention 2 authors that I am just absolutely in love with, and they are not going to be a surprise to any of you if you watched any of my videos. And obviously that's Agatha Christie. She's there behind the stack here. I am rereading her at the moment. First time I ever read her was in 2022. And I read all of her books, just like, I didn't read anything other than Agatha Christie for like almost a year. Because I love her so much. There are a lot of like issues with her. Her books are definitely dated in many regards, but in general, they are just joyful. And that's funny because it's like murders and whatever, but it's just pure joy. And then of course for me as well, Lord of the Rings and Tolkien. I mean, one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life was to be introduced to Tolkien, and I was introduced to him through the movies, the Peter Jackson movies, and it is just the comfort read, and just it's like a warm electric blanket on a freezing winter night. It's just, it brings me so much joy and comfort and just gratitude. And then the second prompt under this theme is discuss something about BookTube that you find joyful. So first of all, I just love the fact that you can click on a BookTube video in general, at least with the people that I follow and that kind of come up on my home screen, and there is no drama. I mean, I know there's a lot of drama on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, and there are a lot of booktubers who are like involved in the drama. I don't watch those channels. I don't follow drama. I don't like drama. It gives me the creeps. I'm not interested in that. So I just kind of ignore those if I would see them on my home screen. But generally, I just go to my subscription page, and there are all my absolutely lovely BookTube people who are just talking about books and the joy they find from reading books, and I love it. I also love some booktubers who have like do some reading vlogs, so you can see snippets of their life. I like that as well, and so that's what I gravitate towards on YouTube in general. I also love to watch some people who are vlogging just their daily life. Maybe they're authors, or they are academics like myself, or booktubers, or whatever they're doing. I absolutely just love it. And there are 2 channels that are definitely my favorites. I have like maybe 20 channels that I follow like religiously, because I have not had a lot of time recently to actually watch BookTube, and I'm so behind. And sometimes I will just watch it on my TV, and I don't even have the energy to pick up my phone and write comments, which I know is really bad. Emma says hi. And yeah, so but I would say that of all the people that I subscribe to, maybe there are like 20 that I watch all of their videos. Emma, you are being very interruptive. I know. But the 2 I want to mention here it's Pat's channel, Book Chat with Pat. It is just pure joy to just listen to a woman talk about books in just such a knowledgeable way, but also just such a just, I don't know, it's like having, sitting with a cup of coffee and just talking to a friend. I absolutely love that. And of course, I also love Ellen's channel, Ellen Made Book Club. You have just such a fantastic humor, and I always end up smiling watching your videos. That brings me a lot of joy and happiness. And also, I just love as well being on BookTube. I'm not trying to grow my channel. My channel is very small, but oh my God, Emma! You might think there's something extremely horrible going on here, and that she's super like, oh my God, I'm dying. No, she just wants me to sit down and have her on my lap. But Emma, I'm trying to film a video because I absolutely love being on BookTube. I love filming videos, talking to the camera, and trying to remember to interact with you in the comments, and just talking about books and why it's so fantastic that I got back to reading several years ago after a couple of decades almost of not reading really. So I'm finding that being on BookTube is just such a source of joy for me as well. Another thing I will say that brings me a lot of joy is that cat, even though she is very annoying. But I'm very grateful as well that I'm able to provide her with the health care that she needs. I think I have already updated you on her health, but Emma, my cat, so Mario, my cat here, he passed away a couple of weeks ago from cancer, and that was horrible. And Emma is also having some health issues. She has hypothyroidism, so she's lost a lot of weight. So now she's on medication, and I have to take her back to the vet next week for a blood test to see how she's her blood values or whatever it's called are doing with her thyroid medication that she's on, whether she needs a bigger dose or if things are okay. So and I'm very grateful to the fact that I have a good vet, but also that I have the means to take her to the vet and get her health in order for her to have a few more years. She's almost 17, so she's not necessarily going to live forever, obviously, but I would love her to stay around a little bit longer for sure. Yeah, and it's so funny because she's one of the side effects of the medication that she's taken in order for her to gain weight is loss of appetite, which is weird to me. So I have to put her wet food in my fingers, and then she will eat it. If I have it in her fingers and she's in my lap, and then she will eat it. She will not eat from her plate. So I always have cat food smell. Even if I wash my hands, they still smell like cat food. It's not very nice. But at least she's eating when I do that. So, but anyway, that's my gratitude and joy from having this absolutely annoying, but absolutely gorgeous little cat. The next theme of this tag is friendship. And the quote is, "Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world." And this is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I love that as well. I think it's really cute. And the third prompt is, discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. So I have two books that I want to talk about here. And the first of them is actually basically the Lord of the Rings in general, but I think especially the Two Towers. And this is the friendship between Merry and Pippin. I love it. I think that, you can see it here in this book when they are with the ants, the big trees. But also I think in the Return of the King, where even though they are not together, they are I don't know, I find that they are kind of like kindred spirits, because I think the friendship between Frodo and Sam is more of a hierarchy. Sam is more of a servant to Frodo, although I think that Sam is really a big hero in the book, in the story, and an underrated hero maybe even. But I love Merry and Pippin, their banter between each other, and they're assisting each other in all of their mischiefs, but also when Pippin does something that isn't good, and Merry's he knows him, oh no, you shouldn't do that. They're like brothers, really, and I absolutely love that. Absolutely love their relationship. I think it's one of my favorite things about the Lord of the Rings is this Hobbit friendship between these two guys. It's really, really lovely. But also I want to say the friendship between the mother and the mother-in-law in this book. So this is The Queen of Dirt Island by Donal Ryan. It's an Irish book, Irish author, takes place in Ireland, and it's a 3 generation of women. The girl who then kind of starts as a small child and then grows up throughout the book, her mother and her grandmother. And the father died, so it's the mother and her mother-in-law. And I find that there is this myth, I find, in the world that mother-in-laws are annoying and, there's a fraught relationship between you and your mother-in-law. I'm a single woman, I don't have a mother-in-law, but I had a boyfriend once. I've had a few of them, but one of my boyfriends, when I was quite young, in my early 20s, we weren't together for very long, and it wasn't a super serious relationship. I hadn't introduced him to my family, but I had met his mother, and I still think about her. 23 years later, I think about her, and I'm she would have been such a good mother-in-law. Or I would have liked to have her, even if I didn't like him very much, later on. But she would have been a good mother-in-law. And I know so many of my married friends or friends who are in relationships, they have, and also I think just in my family as well, there are just so many good mother-in-laws, and so I thought it was just so beautifully done here that maybe it's because her son dies, so that's why she kind of the daughter-in-law takes his place. I don't know, but I think that their friendship, their relationship, their love for each other is just so well done and well written, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And so I would definitely recommend that you read this book. It was one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, because I had no expectation. I bought this because it was recommended me by a bookseller in a bookstore in Ireland, in Maynooth in Ireland. And I just bought it because he recommended it. I'd never heard of it or this author, even though I think that he's quite well known. But it's really well done. And I think that it's also really well, I think I'm pretty sure it's a man. Donald, I think it's a man's name. If he's a man, I should probably have checked that, but I think he's a man. I think I saw a picture of him when I was looking him up. And so he writes these women really well. I really, really enjoyed that. And the Queen of Dirt Island. The next theme is laughter, and the quote is, "There's nothing like deep breaths after laughing that hard. Nothing in the world like a sore stomach for the right reasons." And this is from Stephen Chbosky, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's true, isn't it? The feeling that you get in your stomach when you've laughed so hard that it's like you want to cry from the pain. I love that. But for me, so I also have two authors here that I want to talk about. Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot. It's very chaotic. Prompt number 4, discuss an author or a specific book that makes you laugh. So there are two authors. I think I'm going to talk about two authors. And then the first of them is actually, sorry. Oh, good. The first of them is actually Halldór Laxness. He's an Icelandic author, or was an Icelandic author in the 20th century, and he won the Nobel Prize in 1955, and he's written like dozens, tens of books, tens of books, novels and essays and memoirs and poetry and all sorts of things. And I've been reading him. As an Icelander, everybody reads Halldór Laxness in high school. He's our Charles Dickens in a way. So I read a book by him in high school that is one of his serious books. I don't remember it being funny at all. It's a book that shaped me into this kind of little bit lefty social democrat kind of within political discussions. And it's about, anyway, that's a book I'm gonna read, I think, in December, or November, so stay tuned for that, but reread it. But I hadn't read anything else by him, not really. Maybe, I've seen there have been movies made from several of his books, so seen those, so I've read now 10 books by him this year. The plan is to read 12, and several of them have just been hilarious. His sense of humor is so funny, like it is so good. It's a bit dry and sarcastic, and he pokes fun of the Icelandic culture, Icelandic kind of personality types or whatever, and it is so funny. And I think some of his books are even like on the verge, if not completely satires, and it is. I didn't realize that he was so funny, so that's been a really fun. As I've been exploring his books, it's been really fun kind of discovery. And yeah, that's just, so definitely, if you're interested in Icelandic literature, you should check out Halldór Laxness. And maybe not necessarily only Independent People, which is his most famous book, but maybe other books that are like like this one, Under the Glacier, or the one with that takes place in the Viking Age. Those, for example, those two are just absolutely hilarious, in my opinion, at least. But I also been taking part in Booktober, and I've discovered Oscar Wilde's plays. So I read The Importance of Being Earnest in college, as I did a bachelor's degree in English language and literature in my early 20s. And of course we read Oscar Wilde, we read The Importance of Being Earnest and his novel Picture of Dorian Gray. And obviously The Importance of Being Earnest is hilarious. But I haven't read his other plays. But I did that as well in this October. Spoiler alert for next week's October wrap-up. And oh my God, they are so funny. They are so funny. So I listened to them as audiobooks, and they were narrated. I think most of them were from the LA Theatre Club or something like that. So they were basically plays, like radio plays. And oh my God, they are so funny. Oh, Mr. Wilde, especially his, I think they're called drawing room or sitting room plays. Oh, I laughed and laughed and laughed. They are so funny and absolutely enjoyable and 100% recommend. But yeah, these have definitely caused me to laugh out loud as I was listening to the play from an audiobook on the bus or out walking about. So that was fantastic. And then the last theme is community. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. So this is from Herman Melville. I think he wrote Moby Dick. Anyway, so we have actually 3 prompts in this theme. The first one is so prompt number 5, discuss a book where the idea of community is important. Here I want to talk about Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. So I read this book last year. It was in my top 5 of 2023. And it's the book, I fell in love with Elizabeth Gaskell reading this book. It's quite short. I think it's probably called classified as a novella. But it just takes place in this town called Cranford, a fictional town. And it's more or less just following the lives of these elderly spinsters. I think most of them are spinsters. Maybe some of them are widows. Most of them are at least not married at the time of the story. And there is gossip, there is some young people coming in and out, and it's just delightful. And in regards to community, I thought it was the most beautiful book depicting, I mean, obviously there is some, there's some gossip and, all those things, but especially when one of the characters was basically in dire straits with money. She had no money. Like, all of these poor elderly women came together to help her. And it was just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful just a beautiful story about the importance of, it's kind of like a found family type of a theme in this book. That type of community that you can find when you maybe don't have family, but your friends and your neighbors, they come together when you really need them. And I think that's so beautiful and such a precious thing to have in your life. And I find that also is kind of the theme here in The Other Bennet Sister, which I absolutely loved. This I also read last year, and it was also in my top 5 of 2023. So this is a spin-off from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, following Mary Bennet, the middle sister. And I'm so excited that I think I heard that they're gonna adapt this to a TV show. Because I love this book. This book made me cry so hard because I just feel that I embody Mary Bennett to a degree. I don't think I'm as annoying as he was sometimes, but this kind of overlooked middle child. No, I wasn't overlooked at all, but I'm a middle child. I think that, so you can kind of feel the some of the things that she had to go through. But in regards to community, she had these, her aunt and uncle became, I mean, their family obviously, but they became like her community and her kind of found family type of thing. They basically adopted her and took such good care of her and were just such lovely people, and knew her, kind of saw her as like who she was and the value of her as a person. And I thought that was just absolutely beautiful. And I'm so excited to see. I just cross my fingers they will do this book justice, because it's really so good. I mean, obviously, if you're a fan of Pride and Prejudice, I think that this is a must read for sure. But yeah, I love that. So one of my favorite communal reading experiences this year was hosted by Classics and Company and co-hosted by Kim at Middle of the March. And we read Middlemarch. And this was my first time reading Middlemarch, first time reading George Eliot. And I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite books of the year. And I can't wait to read more of George Eliot, actually. And I really enjoyed that. I also had another read along in March, where we read Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I also really enjoyed. That is the experience of reading it, knowing that other people were reading it, and then watching their discussion on the book. That was really enjoyable. And of course, in July, I participated with all of my being in Jane Austen July. I just have here Sensibility, which is my favorite book by Jane Austen, or at least I have two books. This one and Persuasion are kind of always battling over which one is my favorite. And that was wonderful. We had discussions on Goodreads, and then people were talking about their experiencing reading Jane Austen. So that was absolutely fantastic. I've also been, in October, I've been reading Victorian literature and watching people talking about Victorian literature on BookTube. And I also been reading at least some of the books from Ellen's book club, in Ellen Made Book Club. And I absolutely love that. I do hope that at some point I can maybe do a buddy read with someone. And I think that would be fun. Or have maybe a couple of people in a buddy read, and then we can have like a discussion and then, post that video. I think I would definitely love that. But, my schedule is quite full at the moment, but we'll see. Maybe that will happen. But I really do enjoy these communal events, read-alongs, readathons, whatever they're called. And just knowing that someone else is reading this book, and then you can see their kind of discussion on the book in their videos, is really, really enjoyable for me. And now we have the last theme of the tag, which is gratitude. I can no other answer make but thanks and thanks. And this is from Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. So tag number 7, the last tag, name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you feeling a sense of gratitude. So I can't really name a special book or a special character. Nothing came to mind in regards to that. So what I want to just talk about is just books in general. I got back into reading in 2018 after, I would say, close to 20 years, or where I read very little. I read maybe 5 books a year or something. And I just wasn't reading. And the fact that I'm just reading like 100 books a year now is such a precious thing to me. I cannot tell you how grateful I feel that I found my love of reading again. Because I used to read so much as a child, as a teenager and a young adult, and then it kind of just faded away as I got like further into my 20s. But I found it again in 2018, and it's made my life so much richer, I think. And I think that the reason, so I wrote down like 3 reasons here in my notes as to why and what makes me so grateful about reading. And so first one is that I can just read a book and kind of just lose myself in that story and just escape. It's this escapism, just escape all my worries, all my stress, everything that is happening in my life, and just like I feel like I'm like Harry Potter who goes into the like Riddle's diary, like, and you're just like in the book or something. I'm sure there are also books like that as well. Like I think is it in the Never-Ending Story? He goes into the book, but that's how I feel sometimes when I'm reading a book that just captures me. It's just the best feeling ever, and I absolutely love that. Being just, I feel that it does so good for my mental health, and just for like resetting my brain a little bit and lowering my cortisol levels. It's just I love that. The second thing that I really enjoy about reading books is you can really use it as kind of almost like therapy. It can help you work through either difficult emotions and experiences, and also like happy ones. So you can like connect with characters that are maybe going through something similar, or something like that. And it's just, for me, it's very healing, and it can obviously be triggering, but it's not always a negative thing to be triggered. You have to obviously be ready to deal with the emotions that happen when that happens to you. But for me, it is most often, at least most of the time, 100% worth it, because it just helps me to. I tend to bottle up my emotions. I'm very closed person. I have this kind of type of a thing. But books help me to let it out, and I'm so grateful to so many books that have really helped me work through some pretty horrible experiences in my life. So, and then the third one is also, sometimes it's good to read a book and you kind of they put a mirror to your life, or to your actions, or to your, like what you are doing with your life. And I don't mean it in a negative, like you start to compare. I don't think that's an unhealthy thing. But sometimes a person, like a character in a book, says something or does something, and you're like, yeah, maybe I should do that. Or it can be a guide even to help you do something that maybe you want to do, but you're too afraid to do it. Also, it can help you. Like sometimes when I read books where people are extremely lonely, like last year, my favorite book of last year was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. And that book completely shattered me, and I cried and cried and cried and cried. Mostly because I felt so sorry for Eleanor, because she was so alone in her life. And reading that made me grateful for the fact that I have people in my life that I know are gonna be there no matter what. And that's a feeling. So that made me feel happy and grateful, and kind of look at the people in my life as well. Like, are these people, like, do I have my people? And I'm very grateful that I do actually have my people. So sometimes books can also make you kind of reflect on your own relationships and stuff like that. So that's what I love. That's one of the things, like I said, that make me feel so grateful about the fact that I'm reading so much and that it's something that I can do. I'm able to do that, and that I have, the opportunity and the possibility of getting books into my life. So I'm very grateful for that, for sure. So tag number 8 is to tag others to spread a sense of joy and gratitude. It is funny, when I wrote down my notes of people that I wanted to tag, and I think all of them have actually done this tag. And the videos have just come out like yesterday and the day before that, and in the last 3 days. The people that I wanted to tag have already done the video. But so I'm not going to tag anyone specific. Just go ahead and do the tag if you haven't been tagged by someone, and let me know, because I love these. I love these positive and, I love these tags in general, to hear about people's different kind of answers. But please do the tag if you're watching this, and let me know. Or just maybe you can also do it in the comments if you're not doing videos, and also let me know if you've already done the tag, and I can see if I haven't. I've been watching a lot of these tags. This tag, oh my god! I've been watching a lot of videos of this tag in the last couple of days. So it's been very nice and very lovely. And so again, Pat, congratulations! You 100% deserve to become a huge BookTube channel, and because you're just such a anchor, I think, in your discussions about book. It's just so well done and so interesting, and you're so knowledgeable, and it's just fantastic. And thank you as well, Ellen, again, for tagging me. It's been really fun doing this tag, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you for watching, and tell me what you think about the books that I mentioned in the comments, and I will try to find the time to answer everything and be more active in the comments than I have. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.